Good afternoon, and welcome to Chess Comedy Books 36. It's Sunday evening, and it's been a pleasant day, and I thought it would be nice to look at something entirely relaxing, a topic which has interested me far outside of chess, and that is postcards, collecting postcards. Now, I've got a few here. I should hastily point out that even though I've collected on this theme for many years, I haven't actually got that many because, of course, I do send them to people. And part of the reason that I collect in the first place is in order to interest others. So it may very well be that this is not going to thrill you to death, but just bear with it because there are one or two good ones. Now, these are floor tiles inscribed for use as a games board and playing counters, Roman, from Caleva. And this comes from the Reading Museum. Reading is close to Silchester, where there was a Roman town, I think I'm right in saying. I was going to say encampment or even village. There was certainly a Roman garrison there. You'd have to look in more detail, or I would, and report back to you. But for the moment, here are some playing pieces. This is not chess, and I very much doubt it's Go or drafts either. But I did think it was worth showing you. Now, here's something far more in the groove, and not a card you're going to run into quickly. Do you know who this is? I suspect the fact he's got the body of a tiger tells you, even if you didn't know, that is in fact Tigran Petrosian. This was issued at the 29th Olympiad, and I paid all of $150 for it, which I did. This was issued in the 1990 Olympiad in Yugoslavia. Petrosian had been dead by then for about 5 years, but for all of that, there he is. Nice to know his memory is being honoured and various chess pieces dancing around here. Now, this is the first of the cards I'm going to show you, which quite frankly, I hardly think is worth it. This seems to encompass certain amount of symbolism. Here is a shell, which may indicate that perhaps if you put it to your ear, you can hear the sea. And here is a river, I suppose, is it? Yes, and behind it, possibly a mountain range, and on either side, thick jungle, forestation. And here's a cup of tea, and here is a coffee pot, is it? Forgive me. Yes, I think it is, and a spoon. And it says it's Raul Jose Capablanca. I think it's more likely it's Jose Raul Capablanca. And it also gives a game on the back. It's not everyone that gets this. It's a game between Capablanca and Marshall from New York, 1918. So this was before Capablanca became world champion. And it is, in fact, the famous game where Marshall sprang his little gambit, not so little gambit, in the Lopez at move 8. Capablanca looking his usual self-satisfied and smug self. There we are. Read into this what you will. I can't pronounce this name, Sandor. I suspect that's the name of the artist. I could look him up, actually. Perhaps I should have done. This is just for fun. Ignore these little presents and things I made. I added that as a Christmas card for somebody. Here's somebody, I was going to say trussed up, but here's somebody hanging from his wrists, and he's playing a man with the black cap on. In other words, his own executioner. And there's the geese, and there's the chess. Now, this requires an effort of concentration and of good eyesight. This is a day I'll never forget. And this was one of the souvenirs, art and chess. This was held 30 years ago. An all-day event with films, music, and simultaneous chess displays. Participants include John Cage, Teenie Duchamp, that's Marcel Duchamp's widow, Ray Keane, Mark Kremer, never heard of him, David Levy, Barry Martin, David Norwood, and, exciting for me, George Steiner. There we are. And this is a picture of by Richard Dadd. The chessboard is there, and he is sunken. And it's deliberately supposed to be pale. If that conveys little or nothing to you, it's called The Child's Problem, and it dates from 1857. It may indicate something to do with mental illness, I'm not sure. Here we have something completely different. It's a card sent to me by the Hong Kong-based, but at one time very much Buckinghamshire-born, FIDE Master Dave Carlos. He wrote to me from the Olympiad. His eyesight was immeasurably better than mine in those days. And there is a subject in itself, which I may return to, the Olympiad stamp. That's really rather pleasing, a rook and a bishop and a knight and a board. And there we are, if I can hold it still, which I never can. You can focus on the name of the country, which is Yugoslavia, which isn't a country that exists anymore, is it? This is the 1990 Olympiad, and the girl, who appears to be rearing out of a chess set, looks like she's been in, if not the wars, then in the winds, and she's covering up her nether regions with her hair. And who can blame her for that, where Dave Carlos is concerned? The next card is one of the most useless imaginable. I was sent this by a very dear friend. Here we have a little cat, an owl, a tiger, and a dog. What that has got to do with chess, I do not know. And on the back, there's a game between Alekhine and the Allies. Whether that's Renaud and Khan, I don't know, but he worked with Renaud and Khan against Sallow-Fleur and Riley. This very well may be Brian Riley, who was owner and editor and everything else of BCM at one time. And it is done by the artist Vamos Zoltan. Well, I think it likely his name is Zoltan Ramos, because they put their names backwards, don't they? Nothing wrong with that. In the background, presumably some hills and a skyline, fairly blue. The tiger looks as if he's perhaps feasted well, and the other animals are looking, well, they're looking at the camera, but beyond that point, I don't really know. It says headquarters. In other words, there are 4 heads, rather like cut off on Traitor's Gate. I don't really care for that. That's not really anything much. This is a card I made up. The Merry Christmas is what I put on it. And they've got a chess clock, and the 2 veteran competitors are competing in a game of noughts and crosses. Nothing to do with chess. On the back, it's a Christmas card I sent to John Upham, and in here is a very rare chess parrot logo from the days when I did that. YHM, your humble moderator, and the parrot has got a pawn in its beak. There we are. This is something I picked up in the cinema. At one time, cinemas had free postcards, which I think is a jolly good reason to go to the cinema in the first place, if you needed an excuse, apart from delicious ice creams. The girl seems to be getting excited. The man seems to be preoccupied. Let's go a little deeper. She's chewing a carrot, And he has got a knife and fork, but he also seems to be blinded. Either that or he hasn't got any eyes. He seems to be sitting inert, and she seems to have been very lively, and she's also got big ears, indicating perhaps she's a bunny girl. And in chess, the word bunny used to be, I haven't heard it used recently, mean a very weak player. She doesn't look like a weak player to me. And the two colours are very much contrasting. Find a chess player near you, it says. Well, there we are. It quotes Google Play Mates WorldChess.com. Well, WorldChess.com. Congratulations on exciting interest. Now, this is a card which attracts much interest to me. When I saw this card over 40 years ago, I got very excited and I bought as many as I could carry. And the lady who sold it to me said, I think I should be offering you a discount. Well, she didn't offer me a discount. I don't know what I paid for these, 40 pence each. Anyway, that is the Brighton Centre, which has been used for ice skating and political rallies and conferences. And this is, they call it, the Grieveson Grant British Chess Championships of Brighton, 1984. It was also there in 1980. And I think, though I can't prove it, I am somewhere here. I played in 1984. You'll see over here the demonstration boards and a lot of interesting and badly played and also extremely well played, I'm sure, games in progress. There it is. Get out your microscope and look for yourself. A friend of mine, Neil Capey, was playing in that tournament, and he told me that he worked out where his board was, found it, in terms of the photograph, I mean, and he wasn't sitting at his table. Isn't that typical? After the time when I used to play, I used to get so nervous, I had to keep on jumping up and going to the loo. Well, there are no pictures of the loos, but I hope you'd like that. Now, this is a picture, this is a painting, which has been the rounds because it's on the front cover of, I think, a book about the modern Benoni, or the Benoni anyway. This says Grand Échec, and this is from 1937, and this is by Klee, a world famous painter. I've heard of Klee. I can't actually tell you anything about him, but I have heard of him outside of this context of what I'm trying to say. It's Edition Hazan. I would have to do some research into what ADAGP even stands for, but it's not displeasing, is it? And I think it shows possibly the confusion of the chessboard, in as much that the squares start to blur into each other, but the pieces stand proud. And here we have a smaller piece, blue, sideways, so maybe it's a king which has been deposed. Did you like the joke of the picture, the abstract that was in a gallery, and nobody noticed for weeks on end that it had been hung the wrong way around? Anyway, there you are, right or wrong. Hope you like. Here we see chess used in a rather more liberal-minded context. Though it is undoubtedly a chessboard, everything there indicates not so much a competitive game as some confusion, and the guy who isn't a chess piece, but presumably standing in for a competitor, appears to be sweating profusely. It's all in German. I don't presume, as I always have to say, I don't read one word of German. Postbus. There we are. I don't know anything about Postbus, but if you do, tell me and I'll put it in next time. Meanwhile, I hope you like that. Here we have a seasonal one. Seasonal one. Greetings, he's saying. And this is Rookie. Now, rookie, I think you'll find, is a little boy with a rook's head. And I have a card here, and this is from Gerard Welling, written to me when I was living in Odium. He tells me he's going back to Budapest. He's asking me my opinion of Fischer-Spassky, the second Fischer-Spassky match of 30 odd years ago. Well, my opinion of it then as now is that I'm glad they played. Unfortunately, the games weren't quite up to snuff, except I'm told the first one. So there we are. And there's rookie. Now, this isn't rookie, but an Olympiad card. You will not be a friend of mine, which I hope you'll become, if you didn't know why there's a parrot here, because my name of my magazine, which I've been doing off and on for 40 years, over 40 years now, is the Chess Parrot. And I didn't design this card. Gens una sumus, which is the Latin motto of the World Governing Federation, FIDE, we are one body, or we are one family. And he is attempting to move a piece, and the parrot is giving him some advice. Put it on A3. There we are. This is a caricature. I will not presume to pronounce the gentleman's name. And this is from Sport Tip from Beograd, Yugoslavia. It could be a little more than the gallery or even the printer. That's quite fun, isn't it? And here's our friend Rookie, who's come back. Several of these cards with Rookie appeared in Chess, the magazine Chess. He's waving, and he seems to be milking a cow who's more than in need of milking. And in the background there is windmill, isn't there? And a little rookie, maybe a pawny, I don't know, on a milking stool. And he's waving as if to say, I'm relaxed. Well, relaxed or not, he hasn't done his job because he hasn't milked the cow. You can see that. Here's a reasonable card. It's the same design at the back as we had just now. Let me flick back. Flick back to see not flicking back. But, now you wait there. Isn't it typical? I can't find it. Oh, yes, I can. This reappears here. See it? There you are. The same, but tellingly different. And they've thrown in some chess pieces. And also taken the trouble, I don't quite know why, but put in the shadows. Perhaps indicating the passing of time, and also, of course, the Black King who has resigned. Postmaster Kaiser, and it mentions the homepage kaiserchessbooks.com. Maybe very well worth visiting. I haven't been there myself. Perhaps I should do. There we are, and there we are. I think I prefer it that way up, don't you? Now this is a little thing. The Mind Sports. The Mind Sports has been going for quite some years in London. I think it also moved away. Maybe it came back again. Truth of the matter is, I don't know, but I just got it because the two players are here. They're very definitely, it's been established, they're very definitely not playing chess. And all the games, Acquire, Alfred Wyke, Ken, Lines of Action, Sudoku, Poker, Othello, I've heard of Othello, Twixt, I've heard of Twixt. I never miss having one for lunch. Monopoly. I can't imagine Monopoly being played at a championship level, can you? There we are. Now, the last one, I've got several cards from this family, but I just thought it would be nice to show you. I got this in the British Museum shop, which is sort of open plan now. The shop is sort of, it's not a carousel, but it has many sort of fronts, rather like a fairground. So you can walk round without actually intruding on the shop, which is of itself halfway to being, more than halfway to being, a sort of a display. There we are, the Lewis chessmen in all their glory. It says a bit of information. Chess pieces of ivory found in an underground chamber in the parish of, you'll have to forgive me because I can't pronounce this, UIG, Lewis in 1831. Scandinavian origin, late 12th and early 13th century. So there we are. There they are. Presumably the bishop and the king. And I suppose that's a pawn. This might be a knight, I don't know. What do you think? He's got a shield and a sword. Somewhat defensive, I would think. Certainly isn't offensive. That one we've looked at already. And here we have a very good reason to play chess, and that is to fall in love with your opponent. This card is done in pink, and it shows the bow and the young lady. It says, the greatest game in the world, his move, Charles Diner Gibson, 1903. So it's about 120 years old. It's an American card produced by Dover, the same people I mentioned very recently. And it's been printed in New York. I'll just show you that again. It's rather pleasing. It's Edwardian. And he's looking lovingly into her eyes, and she's averting her gaze, possibly because she's so excited. And the game of chess appears to have, the chess pieces appear to have been strewn around. Well, I have other chess cards, particularly featuring the Isle of Lewis, as I said, but for now, we've had a little stroll through my collection, such as it is. Hope you've enjoyed that. This has been Chess Comedy Books 35, I think. I always get my numbering wrong. I think it is. Hope you've enjoyed it. Goodbye.